Hi, everyone. We're just getting started. We typically try to keep these pretty tight at 15 minutes. So we don't do much waiting around. We record these as well. So they're available after the fact. I'm Daniel Senyard, the CEO and co-founder of Shep. Every couple of weeks, we host a webinar. Today's topic is about how to adapt to the new business travel persona. So yeah, we do these sort of webinars every second Thursday. We do sort of a topic like this one. And then the ones in between will often do just a pretty straightforward demo of the Shep tool. But you can register at that link or just go to our website, sheptravel.com, and there's a resources tab. And there you can register for upcoming webinars, but also access the recordings of prior ones. So the purpose of these is to sort of demo the platform, give previews of new features, do some how-tos and then best practices, and make sure we're available for Q&A. And the idea is keeping these tight, quick, means it's a pretty low pressure way for people to learn about us and a good way for us to sort of like keep connected to the community and trying to provide resources. So basically, as we know and have been beaten over the head with, COVID has changed business travel, and it's also changed the business traveler because there are dramatically more remote employees. I think recent stats said that, 40% of companies, large enterprises, were going to stay in the sort of remote world. Now, the problem is that these new remote workers who weren't your typical business travelers, so maybe someone in accounting or HR, they're now working from home, and they've traveled before. They've booked a family vacation to Disney World, so they feel like they know how to book travel. So there's this sort of assumed competence. And the problem with that is that when you think you know how to do something, you're not likely to reach out and ask for help or guidance or anything. So you've got this sort of new remote workers who think they know how to book travel. And you've got these changing programs. So, travel programs have had to adjust new tools, new TMCs, new policies, new data sources, new resources. So all of this comes together to create quite a lot of confusion and unintentional bad behavior. Your road warrior, if they book outside of your booking tool, maybe they are willingly and knowingly sort of doing what they shouldn't do. Whereas Jan from HR has no idea that they should be booking on Concur, maybe hasn't even heard of it. And so, they've always booked on Expedia, think they're doing the right thing, think they know what they're doing. And so they're now traveling for your quarterly meetings or monthly touch base, face-to-face meetings with the team, and they're booking travel and they're doing it the wrong way because they don't know any different. So a business traveler today, as we said, remote work kind of keeps growing, and it's not just your sales people, your implementation people, your biz dev people who are traveling. Now it is really almost anyone in the company who is working remote, and companies that sort of have a mixed program, some in, some out of the office. There's just a lot more commuting going on. And so these are your new business travelers. Companies are also realizing that efficiencies from automation and AI that they've had to put in place during COVID and realize, well, wow, we can keep doing this. We don't need all these people in person. We can use Zoom and Slack and all these sort of tools and automation and AI that's kind of come in that's made and facilitated this longer term adoption of remote work. And new offices, we saw a study recently that said, I think it was 40 Fortune 500 CEOs were saying they are going to keep a reduced footprint because they realize, why pay for all this office space when people are as productive, if not more productive at home? Why do we need to have these huge office spaces? So the new office is often at home, and that's again another efficiency that's being made permanent. You're saving money on office space. Well, because of all the automation, the tools that facilitate this, that's probably going to stay in place. So we're going to share a framework, as we often do, sort of a way to think about this and to just sort of like identify where some gaps might be. So I'm going to share my screen. So, we're sort of going to look at what the new traveler looks like and the challenges that are faced. So, as we often do, we're going to work on a sort of quadrant here. And you've got at the top high awareness of your travel program and procedures, tools. So that's a great place. The opposite side, you've obviously got low awareness. Then on the far right, you've got those who do a lot of travel and those who do little travel. And so before COVID, you hire a young salesperson and, it's their first real job and they start off down here. But what happens is the more they travel, they kind of climb up into the top quadrant. They travel more, they get exposed more to the rules, the policies, they start to understand how to travel. And they basically end up right up there where you want them, where they are highly aware of the rules and policies and tools, and they're doing a lot of travel. So that makes sense. And what used to happen was I keep picking on accountants and HR as non-travel folks. I'm happy to think about other roles, but that's sort of in my experience. Some roles that don't typically do a lot of travel outside of conferences, maybe. But, that person starts off same place, and they often stay there. Or they also sort of gradually climb up, sort of travel. They sort of maybe their awareness goes up quicker, but their travel doesn't go. They're not traveling a huge amount. What's happened now with COVID is when they are suddenly having to travel quarterly, monthly for team meetings, they're having to suddenly move from this safe little corner all the way over here, where they have lots of travel, they're getting more travel, but they haven't had the time to learn about the rules, the procedures, and especially because those are changing so quickly. And so the problem that this creates is what we call, let me pick a better color. You're sort of right in between here is your awareness gap. And this exposes you to all sorts of issues, whether it's, not booking the right fares, duty of care exposure, all sorts of risks, especially in today's climate with COVID. If they're booking on Expedia, they don't know the rules. You don't know where they're traveling to or when. They're probably traveling to your office. But you do have this problem where tool adoption is low, duty of care exposure is increased. And this is the gap you've got to fill. And so now I'm going to show you, surprise, surprise, how Shep can sort of help with this. So I'm going to go over to my other screen. So let's say someone in your team, your accountant who suddenly has to travel. It's like, yeah, I know how to travel. I book all the time. They, just go to Expedia and they say, okay, well, I'm just going to book my travel on Expedia. What we're able to do is direct them away from that site and tell them, hey, you should be using Concur, or that, we have unused tickets that you should be using. So should you be here? No, your company's booking tool requires you to book directly with Zeno, for example, and redirect them to the right tool where they'll get the resources they need. Equally, they may go and say, when I get to wherever my meeting is, I'm going to rent a car. Your policy actually tells if they're driving less than 25 miles, they should be using Uber or Lyft. And so you can get them to sign up for the rideshare program that you already have in place. Maybe they think, I'm going to book my flight for my quarterly meeting and I'm going to go to AA because that's where I've got my loyalty. You can have approval forms embedded in the tool. But you can also educate them and say, did you know you can still get your loyalty points if you book through Concur? So it can be a way to sort of essentially onboard, even if they're not new employees, onboard them into the travel program. And here you can see it showing you, this is the section where you would link your American Airlines points by adding them directly in here. So that's kind of what Shep is a way to sort of communicate these policies at the exact moment the travelers are booking. And then from the duty of care perspective, they're able to say, hey, I'm going from my home, I've moved home to live with my family in Austin, and I'm now going to go, we're having our annual meeting in Berlin. And so what Shep is able to do is read those fields and then tell you, well, for your trip, here's what you need to know as far as the COVID policy. Do I need to quarantine? All of that sort of stuff. So that's kind of how Shep works. As I mentioned there, Shep is a way to bring your policy to life on any site. So you get the right information to the traveler at the exact moment they need it. We are running a discount right now on our annual plans where you can get a 25% discount on our platform fee because travel is still down but picking up. We sort of are trying to make it a easy decision to get this in to support your travelers and ramp your travel program back up. And we obviously know that procurement takes a little bit longer than a couple months. So this is really just getting into sort of negotiations, getting pilots set up, whatever the case is, by the end of the quarter. And we have a couple of ebooks. We've got 5 steps to returning to travel sooner and safer, which is, just some steps to think about for your travel program, a high level, how to set up approval processes, how to integrate duty of care data sources. And then the second one is implementing guided buying. So that's more, once you've got all those new procedures in place, how to use Shep to actually implement this sort of procedure where you can guide them through the buying process. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for attending. We'll share this video again and see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.